Welcome back, 6th grade history students. You're in Ms. Jackson's history class. We are only reading 2 pages today, but I really want you to focus on the cause and effect relationships as we read. So on tools, page 4, we start with how does a historian work? And the main idea for this section is historians study a variety of sources to learn about the past. Okay, something for you to think about for yourself. The reading focus says, have you ever searched for clues on treasure hunt? Read to find out how historians look for clues to create a written record about the past. So, here we go. Where is the evidence? Historians begin by asking questions such as, why did 2 particular countries go to war? What effect did their fighting have on the lives of their people? How does the conflict influence our world today? Such questions help historians identify and focus on historical problems. Historians generally find evidence in primary sources and secondary sources. Primary sources are the first-hand pieces of evidence from people who saw or experienced an event. They include written documents such as letters, diaries, and official records. They also include spoken interviews as well as objects such as photos, paintings, clothing, and tools. The skill analyzing primary source documents on page 910 will give you a chance to work with written primary sources. We'll get to that later. Secondary sources, on the other hand, are created after the events by people who played no part in them. Secondary sources can be partially based on primary sources. They include biographies, encyclopedias, and history books, even this textbook. Historians study secondary sources, background information, and for a larger view of an event. However, to get new evidence that advances knowledge, historians must turn to the first-hand information found only in primary sources. Examining sources. Historians analyze or examine primary and secondary sources. First, they determine where and when a source was created. Another important question historians consider is why a source is created. Was it a letter meant to be kept secret? Was it a government document published for all citizens to read? And here we have a picture, and it says that it is a scientist studying the Dead Sea Scrolls from Southwest Asia. Can the sources be trusted? Historians examine sources for credibility or truthfulness. This is because each source reflects a point of view or a general attitude about people and life. The creator of a source uses his or her point of view to decide what events were important, which people were key players, and what details were worth recording. Sometimes point of view is expressed as a bias or an unreasoned emotional judgment about people and events. Historians try to be aware of the point of view and bias both in their sources and in themselves. Therefore, sources and their own ideas against sources already known to be trustworthy. They also examine many sources that express different points of view about an event. In this way, historians can get a clear, well-rounded view of what happened. Historians piece together the credible evidence and draw conclusions. In drawing conclusions, they use their own thinking and knowledge of the past to interpret or explain the meaning of the events. So they're kind of happening now. If you've read anything about with the COVID-19, there's lots of different people have different viewpoints about what's going on, don't they? And you have to be really careful about what's trustworthy and what isn't trustworthy and what is the source of the information and how well do they know what they're talking about, right? Okay, cause and effect. Historical events are linked by the cause and effect. A cause is what makes an event happen. The event that happens as a result of the cause is known as an effect. Historians look for cause and effect links to explain why events happen. Usually, one event is produced by many causes. Similarly, one event often produces several different effects. These cause and effect links form what is called a cause and effect chain. Because so many historical events are related, cause and effect chains can become very long and can include events that occur over a long period of time. The chart above shows such a chain of events. So this is going to be really important for you to go back and look at this particular chain. So this is the decline of Rome. So he has some causes and their different effects. And now notice there's 3 causes here, and they have all these effects, and then this then becomes a cause, and these are your effects. So your work today is about determining what's happening in this chart. So you're going to want to read this chart. So you can use your textbook if you have packets, or it's provided for you online if you're in the online classroom. Make sure that you complete the work, but use this chart to complete that work.